is Valley News Live at 6.
We begin tonight with fallout for some on the COVID-19 victim list. Loss of smell and taste are among the most common side effects, with experts saying around 90% of COVID patients having some sort of smell disorder. And for some, the sensory loss is temporary, but for others, the problem lingers for weeks, if not months. And as Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley found out, there is something you can do to help.
While not being able to smell may not seem like a big deal, it does pose safety concern risks for you and your family.
Which is smoke and gas. And so if you have the inability to smell, then there could be a fire, there could be a gas leak in your home, and you wouldn't be able to detect that.
So how do you fix it? Smell therapy.
Really all you're doing is you get 4 or 5 different things that have a pretty distinct smell, and then you just take big whiffs of it a couple times a day.
And typically that's going to be something like a flower, like rose, kind of a lemon, eucalyptus, and something like clove.
Certain foods can have so many different smells at once that it's hard to do it. So you want to go with something really basic.
In a nutshell, it's retraining your brain to recognize smells again, something both doctors say to do for about 10 to 20 seconds twice a day for a few weeks. Dr. Bruns says several studies have shown those who do smell therapy recover better and quicker than those who don't.
But there are still going to be some patients regardless, probably around 2 to 4% of patients who have COVID that may never get their sense of smell completely back.
Both Bruns and Johnson say the key is to keep at it, saying results won't be immediate. Adding, while you can wait a few days to see if your smell comes back on its own, it's never too soon to start. Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Dr. Bruns says if you lost your sense of smell and it's been over 3 months, to make an appointment to see an ear, nose, or throat doctor. Minnesotans with high-risk underlying issues and certain essential workers will be next in line to get vaccinated. In making the announcement, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said that 70% of the people 65 and older would need to be vaccinated before the rollout expands. Currently, 43% of seniors have been vaccinated. According to projections, the next group should be eligible to be vaccinated in April.
You heard the announcements, and it'll come on officially here. Johnson & Johnson. Vaccine works. It's one dose. It's shelf stable. We don't need to keep it at 90 degrees below zero, which means we're going to have another stream of vaccine coming into the state very soon.
According to the governor's office, all Minnesotans should have the chance to get the vaccine by summer. Health officials say the rollout plan is based on science, medical evidence, and federal guidelines. Vaccinations are ramping up in the Red River Valley. Some of the biggest vaccine distributors saying that they're receiving more doses each week. In Grand Forks, the city is moving to Tier 6 of its Phase 1B in the state's vaccination plan. This will include anyone with 2 or more high-risk medical conditions. Cass County Public Health is asking people in this group to contact them for vaccine information. Essentia Health has received 1,500 first doses this week. The hospital is scheduled to receive an additional 1,500 more doses next week, doubling the normal allocation. The vaccines will be used by next Friday at vaccination clinics in Fargo, Castleton, Wahpeton, Hankinson, Jamestown, Valley City, and Lisbon. And of course, you can stay up with the latest COVID vaccine-related information by checking out our VNL vaccine tracker. You can visit our website or simply open your phone camera, point it to the QR code on the screen, then tap the link that pops up. Kids in the Dilworth-Glendon-Felton School District are headed back to the classroom. Students will return beginning Monday, March 15th. Staff members who requested the COVID-19 vaccine have received their first dose, and many have received their second dose. On to the weather now, where temps warmed nicely today, which helped to melt some of the snow we received over the last couple of days or so. Let's find out from Hutch what we can expect tonight. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much. A little shaken to the camera there in Grand Forks caused by those south winds. Those south winds kept temperatures on the up and up throughout the region today. Let's take a look at those temperatures right now in Grand Forks. 34 degrees, 35 in Devils Lake, melting some snow there. A little cooler in Langdon, a little cooler in Thief River Falls. Fargo, we're at 38 degrees, but we're holding on to the 40s in the James River Valley. What a day. Clouds building in from the west, and we do have some unsettled weather heading our way to close out your work week. So some changes are in the offing, but for tonight it will be breezy. And in fact, I expect some of our gusty winds to increase later tonight. So don't be surprised if you hear some gusty winds into the deep of the overnight hours. Temperatures remaining in the 30s in both Grand Forks and Fargo between now and bedtime. I'll have details in hour by hour style, Mike, and what time you can expect a chance of flakes in your area here in a few minutes.
All right, look forward to it. Thanks, Hutch. A man is in jail tonight for failing to comply with West Fargo police. It happened last night when officers confronted the man with outstanding warrants along East Beaton Drive. 29-year-old Anthony Olson was wanted for terrorizing and interfering with 911 calls. Officers say he was wielding a knife and refused to comply. He was arrested, but not before police used a taser and a beanbag shotgun. 8 middle schoolers are facing serious charges following a fight that injured a school resource officer. Police say it happened Monday at Carl Ben Eielson Middle School. That officer was called in to try and break up the fight and was hurt by 2 of the students. A Fargo man was sentenced to 3 days in jail but will serve no time for an incident back in June of 2020. Skylar Goodman was accused of assaulting a woman. The victim said that he pointed a gun at her and threw her to the ground. Authorities say that they'd been fighting over property and a vehicle for a few months. The victim saying that when he came over to drop off her stuff, they got into an argument that turned physical. In a separate matter, Goodman was sentenced last week for attempting to derail a train back in May of 2020. There's new information tonight about a January crash that killed 3 people in Grand Forks. Investigators say that the person who drove the vehicle that caused the crash was likely suffering from a medical emergency. Toxicology reports show that 21-year-old Janessa Kelly did not have alcohol in her bloodstream at the time of the accident. Kelly was on Demers Avenue when police say that she hit 3 other vehicles. She, along with 52-year-old Laura Van Arum and 72-year-old Nancy Sand, were killed. Later on Valley News Live at 6, ice fishing can be a blast, but some anglers are leaving a mess behind, and authorities have a warning for you.
Mild temperatures as we close out our Thursday. Friday will bring some mild weather, but also a little wild as we look towards cooler weather into the weekend. I'll have hour by hour details coming up. Join me. Weather is next.